All right, we should be live. Just gonna wait a second, wait for some people to get in and make sure my software is working here, and then we will get started and hop into the live stream. All right, okay, sounds like my audio is working well. So we're just gonna wait a quick second for some people to get in, and then we are going to start the live stream. Got to go over a couple things before we do get into it, though. Um, just wait like another 10 seconds or so. Got that up and running. Everything's good. All right, so we're going to get right into the live stream here. So we're going to be going over Major Hurricane Ida in this video. We're going to be doing a combination between some forecasting, looking at the outlooks, and ultimately we're going to be doing live radar coverage, also some live NOAA weather radio coverage, and National Hurricane Center audio coverage so that you guys can hear what's going on as well when I'm taking breaks and all that action, which I will be doing a little bit of, and I plan to live stream for a little while. I do have to stop live streaming. I can only live stream at a max until about 1:30 today. But I don't think I'll be going quite that long, but still, I plan to live stream for a little while, maybe like an hour or so, maybe a little longer. Just depending on what happens here. We are very close to landfall in southeastern Louisiana. Now, one thing before we do get into the video or the live stream is if you watched my last live stream, which was actually, I took it down. And the reason why is because the audio was actually way ahead of the actual video, and my live stream kept lagging a lot. So I did a little bit of research, and I think the reason behind this is that my bite rate was too high. And the quality was too high too. So that is why my video quality is a little bit lower than I would like it to be, as you guys can probably tell. But that is only because I don't want it to lag behind for you guys and the audio and video to be way off. If that is the case and you guys notice anything weird, please feel free to leave a comment down below. It's actually greatly appreciated if you guys leave a comment down below if the audio is offset with the video or if it's lagging behind or whatever's going on. Just feel free to leave a comment and let me know, and I'll probably have to make some adjustments or end the stream. However, we're going to be breaking this down as long as we can. We'll just see where it takes us here. And I would also ask that if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, be sure to drop a like on the stream. By doing this, it allows other people to see this information as well. So what we are going to do first is look at the National Hurricane Center. By the way, the Weather Service, Hurricane Center, Storm Prediction Center, Weather Prediction Center, and both Pivotal Weather and Tropical Tidbits will all be in the description down below, the links to that. I don't know if we'll be using all of them. Like, for example, a Pivotal Weather and Tropical Tidbits we'll only use if there's like a forecast that we need to do. But I'm not necessarily sure that we are going to be doing that. When I was deciding between making a video and a live stream today, with how much Ida is intensifying here, I really thought it made sense to make a live stream up until when I can't anymore, because I am going to be busy starting by mid-afternoon today here. But let's just break down what the National Hurricane Center is saying. By the way, if you download an app called, I believe it's just called NOAA Weather Radio, you can also listen to the National Hurricane Center on the NOAA Weather Radio app, and I will be playing that probably a little bit when I'm taking a couple of breaks throughout this here. But it basically just goes over all of this stuff. This is something that you should be commonly using, especially if you do live in the impact zone with Ida right now. But first, let's just break down the cone forecast, which also includes the coastal warnings that are in effect. As you can see here, here's the cone forecast for Major Hurricane Ida. Right now, it is currently a Category 4 hurricane, but there's a twist. It is a strong Category 4 hurricane. Category 5 hurricane wind speeds are winds greater than 157 miles per hour. And I was looking at the radar, and the winds are actually being registered, even though the radar is quite a distance away. The radar was measuring winds around 160 miles an hour and is still doing so. So there's a chance maybe that some of these winds, or at least the wind gusts, are kicking up past Category 5 hurricane speed here. Very, very, very dangerous winds here near the eye wall. It's also a very organized storm as well. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure that you're having every way possible to receive warnings if you didn't evacuate from these areas in Louisiana. If you are under an evacuation order, I hope everything went okay. But make sure that you're just being as well precautioned as you can here. This is a very dangerous situation, and this is probably one of the most dangerous situations, maybe the most, that I've ever forecasted on this channel. Although I don't think I will be live streaming until this makes direct landfall. at least the center of the eye wall, because that's not supposed to happen, I don't think, until about 2 p.m. However, the next update from the National Hurricane Center, I believe, will come in 9 minutes, and if that happens, we'll see when the actual landfall will be. But I can't go too far into the landfall. As you can see, though, it will remain a major hurricane until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, when it will then reach the northern portion of southeastern Louisiana here near the Louisiana-Mississippi border. It will still be a hurricane by that point, okay? It'll just be below Category 3 hurricane status. Category 3 to 5 is considered a major hurricane. Right now, it is a strong Category 4. Right now, though, it is expected to weaken down to a standardized hurricane by early tomorrow morning. By the time that we get into early tomorrow afternoon, it'll actually weaken below hurricane status here in the northern Louisiana, southwestern Mississippi border as a tropical storm. Will still remain an organized tropical cyclone, but will be a tropical depression by the time that we're reaching 1 a.m. Tuesday. 1 a.m. Tuesday through 1 a.m. Wednesday, this will be a tropical depression that tracks across the northern Gulf states and into the Tennessee and Ohio valleys. And eventually from 1 a.m. Wednesday to 1 a.m. Thursday, that's when it will be a post-tropical depression here as it moves into the northeast states. That's what's expected with this, but the most significant impacts as far as by day goes is expected to be today. So this is a pretty major situation here, and you're really going to want to take all necessary precautions that are needed, whether it's by your local emergency management personnel, which, by the way, there are large population areas that are being affected by this here. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, all of you guys are in some serious impact zones right now. This is very dangerous, and you guys are just going to want to stay tuned to every website that you can. Do everything that you can to help yourself out in this situation here. I promise that this is definitely going to be needed. We've broken it down to the point where at this point we can actually see winds on radar that are being registered at around 160 miles per hour. So very, very dangerous. Speaking of which, here's our probabilities here of seeing some tropical storm force winds within the next 5 days or 120 hours here, which, as you can see, here, I'll just zoom this down a little bit so you guys can see. With this purple area here, which includes Baton Rouge and New Orleans, really all of southeastern Louisiana here, and also southern Mississippi, in this purple area, we're looking at a greater than 90% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds over 1 minute. If we see winds of that greater than 39 miles per hour, we are looking at tropical storm force winds. That is incredibly likely in that purple region. Still likely throughout this red region here. This orange, you're still looking at a pretty good shot of it. When you start to get into these yellows, that's when you're looking at about a 30 to 50% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. In these greens, you're looking at a more slight chance. However, it doesn't matter what category you're in. Know that if you are anywhere near or in even these dark green areas here, even though the chances may be more slight, especially than these reds and purples here, know that the winds can still be significant in your area. So be sure to keep an eye on that if you are in those regions. Here's our probabilities here of seeing winds greater than 50 knots or 58 miles per hour within the next 5 days or 120 hours. This is kind of going to be like a video at first, like one of my normal videos, and then we'll get more into the live stream action here. But this purple area, we are looking at a greater than 90% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. In these reds here, we are looking at still a pretty likely shot of that. These oranges and browns, we're still looking at greater than 50% chance. Yellows, slight. It's the same color combination as our probabilities here. What happened? Of seeing some tropical storm force winds. And then here's our probability of seeing some hurricane force winds, which again, it is a greater than 90% chance in this purple area here, still likely in these oranges and reds, and still possible in these greens. So very strong winds are going to be quite likely. Let's take a look at the storm surge, which this is only getting worse. Like every time they update it, it's only getting worse here. From Port Forchon, I believe it is, Forcon, to the mouth of the Mississippi River in southeastern Louisiana, we are likely going to see storm surge of 12 to 16 feet. That is extremely dangerous storm surge. That means that we're seeing 12 to 16 feet of storm surge blasting onto the land where it is not supposed to be. Storm surge is often one of the most destructive things in a hurricane. In this scenario, it is very, very dangerous. I even saw some talk. Now, we will look over the National Weather Service warnings in a second just to see for sure, but at least yesterday and the day before, I believe, they said that this could be historic storm surge, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Still going to be very significant, possibly up to a foot. from the mouth of the Mississippi River into Bay St. Louis, or just from southeastern Louisiana into southwestern Mississippi. Storm surge is possible throughout all of these red shaded areas, though will be less significant on the far west and far east portions. But yeah, Port Fourchon to the mouth of the Mississippi River, that's where we're looking at likely the most significant storm surge. And then here's our expected rainfall throughout the course of the next 5 days, which, guys, this is extremely significant rainfall. As you can see, if you are in this green region, you are looking at 1 to 2 inches of rain. These greens, you're looking at 2 to 4 inches. Yellows, 4 to 6. Oranges, 6 to 10. Reds, 10 to 15. And if you're on these pink regions here, which does include downtown New Orleans, you're looking at 15 to 20 inches of rainfall. So extremely heavy rain will lead to pretty major flooding concerns, especially if you are in that pink region there. And as you can see, if we go to our flash flooding potential, you can see that we currently have a high risk of excessive rainfall for today and tonight. This includes southeastern Louisiana and southeastern Mississippi. This pink area here, we have a greater than 50% chance of seeing excessive rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a given location. This includes Lake Pontchartrain and New Orleans here. We currently are looking at a high risk of excessive rainfall through tonight. In these red areas, we are still looking at flash flooding being quite likely throughout those regions. This includes northern Tennessee, which just got blasted with catastrophic flash flooding, unfortunately. The Nashville metro area, especially the western portion of the Nashville metro area here. Into central Kentucky, and of course there in the Gulf of Mexico surrounding that high-risk region, and just to the north of it, we have a moderate risk of excessive rainfall for today and tonight. Flash flooding still likely. This yellow, scattered flash flooding, and in this green, we are looking at some isolated flash flooding. On the left side of the screen here, this largest image, this is all of the day 1 through 3 outlooks combined together here, and as you can see, this is all of them put separately. So right now, we don't have that moderate risk in Tennessee. We actually have nothing in Tennessee right now. But this would be our outlook for today, our outlook for tomorrow, and our outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night here. That is the excessive rainfall outlooks that we are expecting here. So widespread significant flash flooding is very likely, and this could be a life-threatening situation for the New Orleans metro area, downtown New Orleans, much of southeastern Louisiana. This is a pretty dangerous situation that we have on our hands. And then here is our tornado potential, which will actually take us over to the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center here. So what we are going to do is take a look at our day 1 convective outlook. We have 2 slight risks there, one of them in portions of lower Michigan, and we have another one there that we're focusing on in today's video throughout portions of the Gulf states, including southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southwestern Alabama, and the western portion of the Florida Peninsula. We currently have that slight risk of severe weather there, which means that scattered severe storms are going to be possible here. Widespread life-threatening damaging winds are obviously going to be possible as Ida makes landfall throughout much of this region here. But this is our probabilities of seeing convective systems that could potentially produce some severe weather. That will be likely on a scattered basis throughout that area. We can see in our marginal risk region surrounding it, we could see some isolated severe weather. Here would be our tornado outlook, which as you can see throughout our slight risk region, we have a 5% chance of a tornado touchdown within 25 miles of a given location. This includes New Orleans, Mobile, I believe it's Metairie, Gulfport, and Kenner. We all have that risk there of seeing some tornadoes that can touch down. We're likely going to be seeing a couple or a few tornadoes. We already have a tornado watch in effect, and I've already seen a couple tornado warnings and special marine warnings indicating the potential for water spouts. We have already seen that there. So we could be looking at that with Hurricane Ida today and tonight. For tomorrow, we have another slight risk of severe weather, generally in that same region, where, again, a few tornadoes are going to be possible. And as we speed this up to our day 3 outlook, we can see some continuing severe weather there, which could indicate for some tornadic activity in portions of the Gulf states into the southeastern Tennessee and southwestern North Carolina region there, so we could be looking at some tornadic activity throughout the course of the next 3 days at least, and we'll just go from there to see what happens next. What we're going to do now, before we likely hop into our live streaming, is we are going to check out this tornado watch that has been issued here. As you can see, that eye wall right there, this huge organized storm structure, that is where Hurricane Ida currently is. As you can see, here is our tornado watch region, and as you can see, here are our probabilities of severe weather. If you can see here that throughout this tornado watch region, which is shaded throughout portions of southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southwestern Alabama, and the western Florida Panhandle, We have a moderate chance here of seeing some tornadoes. The chances of seeing EF2 plus tornadoes, aka significant tornadoes, is low. We're probably not going to see much of that activity today, but there's a pretty moderate chance of seeing at least some tornadic activity. Severe wind, significant severe wind, severe hail, and significant severe hail. All of those chances are very low, but again, severe wind and significant severe wind is very likely with Ida. This is just the probabilities of seeing some damaging thunderstorm winds. That may not necessarily be from Ida. That's why the probabilities are very low. However, the chances of seeing damaging winds are incredibly high from Ida, but Hurricane Ida, hurricanes are not the same thing as convective systems and severe thunderstorms most of the time here. However, this could bring us some tornadic activity at least, so we will keep an eye on it to see what happens. But yeah, we are looking at some tornadic activity. We're looking at extremely heavy rainfall, very strong winds, life-threatening storm surge. All of that is in play. Hold on, we do have a comment here. I don't know why it wasn't speeding it up in my actual phone here. I'm looking at my phone to read the comments, but for some reason it's not showing up on my phone. Weather Watcher, hi, Phantom Weather Channel, thanks for your live stream. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy it as we go along here, and I hope it doesn't lag too much, because again, we did have that problem in the last live stream, so I'm hoping that is not going to be the case. Wow, look at this, guys. We have an extreme wind warning that has been issued. I have never seen this before. Okay, so we have an extreme wind warning that has been issued for portions of southeastern Louisiana. Let's take a look at that really quick. The National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued an extreme wind warning for West Central St. Bernard Parish in southeastern Louisiana, Southern St. Charles Parish in southeastern Louisiana, Terrebonne Parish in southeastern Louisiana, Lafourcade Parish in southeastern Louisiana, Jefferson and Palcomines Parish until 10:45 a.m. Central Daylight Time or 11:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 7:47 a.m., NOAA Hurricane Renaissance aircraft and maritime observations indicated extreme winds associated with the eye wall of Hurricane Ida moving onshore to southeastern Louisiana. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do everything that you can to protect yourself from extreme winds. As you can see, widespread destructive winds of 115 to 150 miles per hour will spread across St. Bernard Parish, St. Charles, all the areas listed throughout here. We'll see extreme winds up through 10:45 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Widespread destructive winds are likely. Take cover now. This threat is imminent of extreme winds as if a tornado was approaching, and move immediately to a safe room in your shelter. Take action now to protect your life, as it says here in this National Weather Service warning. I have never seen this before. This is how dangerous this hurricane is right now. We have extreme winds that are moving onshore. The safest place to be during a major landfalling hurricane is in a reinforced interior room away from windows. Get under a table or other piece of sturdy furniture. Use mattresses, blankets, or pillows to cover your body and remain in place through the passage of these life-threatening conditions. A tornado watch remains in effect until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time for southeastern Louisiana. Guys, I have never seen an extreme wind warning get issued before. That is how serious the situation is right now. Again, this is no joke. If you are in southeastern Louisiana, you are in any of these mentioned areas here, you are under an extreme wind warning. Not a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, an extreme wind warning. As you can see, this is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Take cover now if you are anywhere within these areas. Stay tuned to professional websites, have multiple ways to receive warnings, and hunker down. As you can see here, the safest place to be during a major landfalling hurricane. Be sure to read these instructions and go to the National Weather Service website if you want to get all of the information here. This is an extremely dangerous situation if you are in these areas. And again, I have never seen an extreme wind warning get issued, so very dangerous situation is panning out here. This includes the southern portion of the New Orleans metro area here, including Yuma, Louisiana, is under an extreme wind warning right now. So very, very dangerous occurrence is likely. All of these purple areas, we currently have some storm surge warnings. These light reds, we are looking at some hurricane warnings, and these dark reds, we are looking at some tropical storm warnings. What I am going to do really quick, though, just to make sure that, I've never seen that warning. I've never seen that either. This is crazy. What I am actually going to do right now, though, is I am going to check my live stream on my phone really quick, and I'm going to make sure that everything's caught up to speed and we're not having the same issue that we had in our last live stream. So we'll be back in just a second with more information. Okay, we're back and set up. It looks like everything's going good so far. So we're just going to continue along with the live stream. And yeah, we have an extremely dangerous warning that has been put out here. And we're going to get back into it. So let's go to our hurricane warning really quick, which as you can see, our hurricane warning remains in effect. Our latest local forecast, equivalent strong tropical storm force winds. Our peak wind gust forecast here is going to be 55 to 70 miles per hour with gusts up to 85 miles per hour for New Orleans and Lakefront Airport. As you can see, take a look at our potential impacts. Our potential impacts from the main wind event are unfolding. We don't have much of a storm surge inundation forecast for this area. Some storm surge is possible. As you can see, though, potential impacts from this could be devastating to catastrophic. This is the hurricane warning that has been put out by the National Weather Service in New Orleans here. So some devastating to catastrophic impacts are very possible throughout portions of the New Orleans area, throughout southeastern Louisiana. This is definitely something that needs to be kept an eye on for sure. What we are going to do here is we are going to do some live coverage. Let's go to the radar really quick and see what is going on. As you can see, I just turned this radar on like a few minutes ago. It's already gotten pretty close to landfall just as we've did that. So we're on New Orleans' radar right now. Just so it's not too annoying for you guys, we're going to turn off the, if I can ever get it to work here. We're going to turn off spotters so that it's not too annoying for you guys to look at here. And yeah, so right now, this is what Hurricane Ida currently looks like. As you can see, south of southeastern Louisiana, we currently have a major hurricane. You can see right now it is a very organized storm structure right now. It has a very defined eye wall. You can see right there that huge eye of the storm right there. Just around it, we have widespread heavy rainfall here that is being wrapped by extremely strong winds. What we're going to do is take a look at velocity, and we are going to see just how strong these winds actually are. I probably won't be talking as much when we're doing the radar coverage as I do in my usual live streams, because this is not an imminent landfall as we speak, or this is going to make landfall, but not at this moment here. So I probably will be doing some breaks where I'll actually turn the simulated radar on and let you guys listen to the National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service weather radio stations here. But we are going to talk for at least a little bit and just see what's going on. As you can see right now, the winds that are being measured by New Orleans, Louisiana's radar top out at around 160 miles an hour. If we're using this tool, we can actually look at the exact wind speeds that are being registered. We are looking at widespread winds over 150 miles an hour, which again, guys, Category 5 hurricane winds are over 157. So that might have to be the sustained winds. But either way, the gusts and all the winds as a whole here are just over Category 5 hurricane status. So that is very interesting and not a good sign at all. I have lots of weather apps where I can get notifications from, and they'll tell me right away if this does get upgraded to a Category 5 hurricane. But at the moment, it is a strong Category 4 in this, because this is the wind gusts together. I don't know if they will call this a Category 5 hurricane necessarily, but as you can see, the actual eye of the storm, which obviously is right here south of Grand Isle, Louisiana, this still has some time to strengthen over the warm Gulf waters before it hits southeastern Louisiana. It has a very small amount of time. We expect direct landfall, I believe, at around 2 p.m. Central Time this afternoon here, but actually, as a matter of fact, it's 11:09, so I believe the new National Hurricane Center Outlook has came in. So let's go to that really quick. We have a new mesoskill discussion for the tornado watch. We will check that out in a second here too. Let's see. So here's Hurricane Ida. I do believe that we did have another update on this. Let's take a look. All right, we did. So as you can see right now, our update came at 10 a.m. Central Time Sunday here, which was about 10 minutes ago. And as you can see, we have had some hurricane force winds that have been observed around this here. If you are in these brown regions, we've seen some hurricane force wind swaths. If you are in these oranges, we've taken a look at tropical storm force wind swaths. And again, this is expected to remain a hurricane until between now and 7 a.m. tomorrow morning here. By 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, that's when this will weaken down to a tropical storm and will then weaken to a tropical depression by 7 p.m. Monday before moving northeastward and eventually will move off the coast of the United States, likely by early Thursday morning here when the low reaches near New York City. So this is still a major hurricane right now. Let's see if anything's been updated with the storm surge. I don't believe anything much has changed so far. So I don't think we need to do much right now. One thing I do want to check out though really quick is take a look at this mesoscale discussion that was issued 6 minutes ago, because this will tell us about our tornadic activity right now, which, as you can see, tornadoes will remain possible with the cells within the outer banks here. As you can see, southern Mississippi, southwest Alabama, western Florida Panhandle, and parts of southeastern Louisiana are under this outlook right now, which, as you can see, tornadoes will remain possible with the stronger cells within the outer convective bands. An initial band of storms continues to move northward across southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and the western part of the Florida Panhandle. The strongest cells continue to move across southern Alabama and into northern Florida, where there's access to more favorable boundary layer theta E convection. Farther northwest into Mississippi and curling southwest into the Louisiana state line, that's where the region of cooler air exists, which may be reducing tornado potential, at least temporarily here. However, a few tornadoes are still going to remain possible with cells in the outer bands of Hurricane Ida. So yeah, right now, we do have those pretty significant impacts here, including tornado potential. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take a look at our simulated radar. And I'm actually going to leave the simulated radar on and turn on the National Hurricane Center NOAA weather radio station so that you guys can hear what is going on. And we're going to take a short break, and I'll be back to talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Ida, located over the north-central Gulf of Mexico approaching the coast of Louisiana, on Tropical Depression 10, located over the central tropical Atlantic, and on Tropical Depression 11, located over the central subtropical Atlantic. A broad area of low pressure located just east of the Delmarva Peninsula is producing a few disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the warm Gulf Stream waters. Environmental conditions appear favorable for some slow development over the next few days as this system drifts southeastward and then eastward, moving away from the east coast of the United States. Formation chance through 48 hours, low, 10%. Formation chance through 5 days, low, 20%. A tropical wave is expected to emerge off the coast of West Africa by Tuesday. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development once the wave moves offshore, and a tropical depression is likely to form toward the end of the week while the system moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles an hour over the eastern tropical Atlantic. Formation chance through 48 hours, low. The Tropical Weather Outlook, issued at 7:45 a.m. For the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, the National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Ida, located over the north-central Gulf of Mexico approaching the coast of Louisiana, on Tropical Depression 10, located over the central tropical Atlantic, and on Tropical Depression 11, located over the central subtropical Atlantic. A broad area of low pressure located just east of the Delmarva Peninsula is producing a few disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the warm Gulf Stream waters. favorable for some slow development over the next few days as this system drifts southeastward and then eastward, moving away from the east coast of the United States. Formation chance through 48 hours, low, 10%. Formation chance through 5 days, low, 20%. A tropical wave is expected to emerge off the coast of West Africa by Tuesday. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development once the wave moves offshore, and a tropical depression is likely to form toward the end of the week while the system moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles an hour over the eastern tropical Atlantic. Formation chance through 48 hours, low, 20%. Formation chance through 5 days, high, 80%. The Tropical Weather Outlook, issued at 7:45 a.m. For the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, the National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Adam, located over the north-central Gulf of Mexico approaching the coast of Louisiana, on Tropical Depression 10, located over the central tropical Atlantic, and on Tropical Depression 11, located over the central subtropical Atlantic. A broad area of low pressure located just east of the Delmarva Peninsula is producing a few disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the warm Gulf Stream waters. Environmental conditions appear favorable for some slow development over the next few days as this system drifts southeastward and then eastward, moving away from the east coast of the United States. Formation chance through 48 hours, low, 10%. Formation chance through 5 days, low, 20%. A tropical wave is expected to emerge off the coast of West Africa by Tuesday. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development once the wave moves offshore, and a tropical depression is likely to form toward the end of the week while the system moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles an hour over the eastern tropical Atlantic. Formation chance through 48 hours, low, 20%. Formation chance through 5 days, high, 80%. Coastal waters from Okaloosa, Walton County, line Florida to Pensacola, Florida out 20 nautical miles, and waters from Okaloosa, Walton County, line to Pensacola, Florida from 20 to 60 nautical miles. Tropical storm warning remains in effect. West, south winds 25 to 35 knots with gusts up to 50 knots and seas 14 to 22 feet. Waves over bays and sounds building to 3 to 5 feet. Where, portions of the coastal waters of Alabama and northwest Florida. When, tropical storm force winds expected from late tonight through Monday. Impacts, very strong winds will cause hazardous seas which could capsize or damage vessels and reduce visibility. Mariners should alter plans to avoid these hazardous conditions. Remain in port, seek safe harbor, alter course, and slash or secure the vessel for severe conditions. A tropical storm warning is in effect for the following marine locations: Mississippi Sound and coastal waters from Pascagoula, Mississippi to Stake Island out 20 nautical miles. Tropical storm warning remains in effect. West, south winds 30 to 40 knots with gusts up to 60 knots and seas 21 to 26 feet. Where, coastal waters from Pascagoula, Mississippi to Stake Island out 20 nautical miles, coastal waters from Pascagoula, Mississippi to Stake Island, Louisiana out 20 to 60 nautical miles, Mississippi Sound and Chandler Sound. Wind, tropical storm force winds possible until early Monday morning. Impacts. Very strong winds will cause hazardous seas which could capsize or damage vessels and reduce visibility. Mariners should alter plans to avoid these hazardous conditions. Remain in port, seek safe harbor, alter course, and slash or secure the vessel for severe conditions. The flood warning continues for the Styx River near Evanor. From Monday afternoon to late Wednesday morning. At 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, Sunday the stage was 2.6 feet. Flood stage is 12.0 feet. Moderate flooding is forecast. Forecast. The river is expected to rise above flood stage tomorrow afternoon to a crest of 14.4 feet Tuesday morning. It will then fall below flood stage early Wednesday morning. Impact. It's 14.0 feet. Moderate flood stage. Water approaches houses on Donovan Circle in the Seminole Landing community. A storm surge warning is in effect. A storm surge warning remains in effect and a tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following areas in Alabama: Baldwin Central, Baldwin Coastal, Mobile Central and Mobile Coastal. A storm surge warning is in effect. A storm surge warning remains in effect and a tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following area in Mississippi: Jackson. Dangerous category for Hurricane Ida strengthens some more. New information. Changes to watches and warnings. Non-current watches and warnings. A storm surge warning and tropical storm warning are in effect for Baldwin Central, Baldwin Coastal, Mobile Central, and Mobile Coastal. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Baldwin Inland, George, Green, Mobile Inland, Harry, Stone, Washington, and Wayne storm information. About 200 miles south-southwest of Mobile, Alabama, or about 210 miles southwest of Pensacola, Florida. 28.0 and 89.1 W. Storm intensity 140 miles per hour. Movement northwest or 315 degrees at 15 miles per hour. A tropical storm warning is in effect. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following areas in Alabama: Baldwin Inland, Mobile Inland and Washington, and the following areas in Mississippi: George, Green, Harry, Stone and Wayne. A storm surge warning is in effect. A storm surge warning remains in effect and a tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following areas in Alabama: Baldwin Central, Baldwin Coastal, Mobile Central and Mobile Coastal. Dangerous category for Hurricane Ida strengthens some more. New information. Changes to watches and warnings. Non-current watches and warnings. A storm surge warning and tropical storm warning are in effect for Baldwin Central, Baldwin Coastal, Mobile Central, and Mobile Coastal. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Baldwin Inland, George, Green, Mobile Inland, Harry, Stone, Washington, and Wayne storm information. About 200 miles south-southwest of Mobile, Alabama, or about 210 miles southwest of Pensacola, Florida. 28.0 and 89.1 W. Storm intensity 140 miles per hour. Movement northwest or 315 degrees at 15 miles per hour. Situation overview. At 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time, extremely dangerous Hurricane Ida was located over the north-central Gulf of Mexico, moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. On the forecast track, the center of Ida will continue to progress north.
All right, we are back. We're just gonna keep moving along. So let's see what's going on at the moment. We're gonna turn off the simulated radar. Okay, so right now you can see that the outer bands near the eye wall of this hurricane is expanding near areas like Grand Isle, Louisiana, all of these areas from Golden Meadow through Grand Isle and Buraz, I believe these areas actually are under those, at least on the western side of it, are under those extreme wind warnings right now. Which again can all be found on the National Weather Service. It must be a very rare warning, likely only for oncoming major hurricanes here. But yeah, very strong winds, very life-threatening situation. The National Weather Service has noted for many different occasions the hurricane warning, the storm surge warning, the extreme wind warning, the list goes on and on. They've noted many times that this is a very life-threatening situation, so do whatever you can to protect yourself. Make sure that you're taking adequate cover as needed, and if you're under one of those extreme wind warnings, take it very seriously. And now taking a look at our velocity here, you can see that the winds max out at about, let's see, winds are maxing out at about 151 miles per hour. So this is just, okay, there's 158. So again, these are the wind gusts too. So I'm not necessarily sure if this is necessarily Category 5 hurricane winds, but the gusts would make it that way. Right now, sustained winds are definitely probably a little bit less here, but still a strong Category 4 hurricane right now. This is moving onshore very soon to Grand Isle, Louisiana. This is moving north-northwest at 35 knots, which I believe would be about 40 miles per hour. So I think this is moving north-northwest at about 40 miles per hour-ish. And this will move into the Grand Isle, Louisiana area pretty soon. If everything continues along here at the way that it's supposed to, it looks like Grand Isle, Louisiana will get hit very hard. Unfortunately, as you can see, the rainfall is wrapping around. The rainfall is pretty heavy, but because this is a very widespread area, and it's going to be over these areas for a long time, widespread significant flooding concerns are going to be likely. And we do have some pretty heavy rain right now, but right now, the wind, storm surge, tornadoes on the outer bands here north of the actual landfalling hurricane. This is all a threat right now and a very significant threat. You can see widespread heavy rainfall and the second ring here around the eye wall of the hurricane is expanding into areas like Empire, Buraz, Boothville, and Venice here, Port Sulphur. All these areas are getting in on hurricane impacts right now, but areas like Grand Isle, Louisiana to the west here, we are looking at possibly some especially significant impacts here in those regions. I do anticipate that the wind and the rain will be very significant in areas like Grand Isle, Louisiana. And I am very concerned for areas like that there. Again, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to protect yourself. This is a life-threatening situation. This isn't your normal tropical storm, obviously. This is a very dangerous situation. So make sure that you're paying attention to all warnings and that you have multiple ways to receive them in case more things happen. But right now we have hurricane, storm surge, extreme wind. All those warnings like that are out right now, flash flood watches. So there's a lot of things that are currently in effect right now, and they're going to be updated quite a bit. The National Hurricane Center, I believe they do their next update, if I'm not mistaken, at about, I'd say 1 p.m., or probably like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Central Time is probably when they'll do the next update. For me, it'd be about 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. in Eastern Time. But yeah, this is a pretty, very strong storm right now. And the velocity says it all. Another thing, too, that I didn't notice until, like, just now, well, I noticed it a little while ago, but something that you don't see very often is you'll notice here that typically these colors, if you watch my other live streams or you use radar scope a lot, these colors only indicate winds of about 90 to 100 miles per hour, which is very strong, but it only indicates winds of about that magnitude. But usually the radar can only register winds up to 143 miles per hour. Not today. The radar site in New Orleans, they must have modified something or did something to watch this hurricane a little bit more closely, because now the radar can register winds all the way up to 226 miles per hour. And so these colors that look like they're registering only about 80 to 90 miles per hour are really registering winds more like 150. And so if you're looking at winds and saying, nah, those winds are only 90 miles an hour, still strong, but, not going to be extremely significant as they're saying. No, these winds are about 160 miles an hour in many areas. So very strong winds are being picked up on radar, and these color combos are a little bit different than they normally are. So it was definitely a good move on the radar's point of view here. Here's another factor. Winds of this magnitude that normally indicate, or these colors here that normally indicate 60 miles an hour, it's indicating 87 miles per hour. So they must have did something with the radar, and I think this is the only radar that's doing that for today. So I can definitely see the winds much better within this hurricane now that they've added that feature. Maybe it's something that the radar something that the radar automatically does. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to do some research on that. But yeah, either way, very strong winds are being picked up on radar, I guess is where I'm going with that. But yeah, this is a very, very strong storm right now. It looks like west of Grand Isle is where the most significant impacts are going to be with this. Yeah, so this is a pretty organized storm. I guess another thing that we can do right now is, let's see what's going on the outskirts too. Because again, special marine warnings and flash flood warnings are in effect as well, more along the Florida Peninsula and southwestern Alabama near Mobile. So let's take a look at that really quick. These special marine warnings could very well be for thunderstorms capable of producing waterspouts, because these tornado watches are in effect, and we do have these more single-celled numerous thunderstorms that are along these areas. And again, it's going to be the outer band storms that looks like capable of producing tornadoes. So let's take a look at that really quick. Well, first, I guess let's see what the special marine warning is all about. So let's click on this here. This is including south of Mobile, Alabama here. Into the bay, you can see that this is several strong bands of showers and thunderstorms will continue to move across the warned area and produce gusty winds through the morning. So right now, this is not for a severe thunderstorm capable of producing waterspouts, and because the wind gust will only get to 40 miles per hour, it'd still be significant. We have so many things right now going on that I don't really want to focus on that too much, but Pensacola, Florida to the south through Gulf Breeze here, Fort Walton Beach, all those areas are also under a special marine warning. This is just, again, so still for several strong bands of showers and thunderstorms, but right now, looks like nothing capable of producing waterspouts or tornadoes. We also have a flash flood warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Mobile. You can see this is for south central Escambia County in northwestern Florida, and this is until 4:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time Sunday. It will be 5:15 p.m. in my time here at 10:06 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area, and flash flooding is either ongoing or is expected to begin shortly. Areas like Pensacola, Ferry Pass, Brent, West Pensacola, Ensley, Gonzales, Golding, Myrtle Grove, Olive, Pine Forest, Bellevue, Avondale, Brownsville, Catonment, Cottage Hill, and Beulah. All these areas could experience some flash flooding here. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads, because most flood deaths do occur in vehicles. So widespread heavy rain is occurring on the northern side of this flash flood warning here, which is this green box. All of this area, this is a current flash flood warning that is in effect. The northern side of Pensacola, including some of the downtown area, is under that flash flood warning. And the heavy rain kind of resides to the northern part of it, like Gonzales and north. That's where the heaviest rainfall is. The frame just got updated here. But the southern side of it, southeastern side, we're generally looking at light to moderate rain, but a large area of heavy rain is still behind that. And this will be the continuing case throughout this hurricane here. But let's switch it back over to New Orleans' radar and just see what is going on as far as those winds go. And then what we're going to do next is take a look at how organized it is by taking a look at Tropical Tidbits' the website Tropical Tidbits. We're going to be taking a look at how tall the cloud structure is, and that'll give us an idea of how organized this hurricane is, although this radar certainly shows that it's pretty organized right now. I mean, just look at that eye wall. This is probably something that we haven't really seen all year. Like, typically the storms that we've had have been like weird shapes. Like even Hurricane Henri that hit New England a little while ago, it didn't have much of an organized eye wall. It didn't look like it was somewhat organized, but nothing crazy. This is a very defined eye wall. You can see it easily south of Grand Isle. Another thing that I want to do, Grand Isle is a pretty well-known area. I want to see how close this is, the outer bands of the eye wall is to Grand Isle right now. Not far. So right now, this outer structure of the eye wall is about 10 miles south of Grand Isle, a little bit less than 10 miles south of Grand Isle. The actual eye wall, though, is about 16 miles south of Grand Isle, 15, 16 miles. And again, this is moving northwest at about 40 miles an hour, it looks like. We're already seeing some significant impacts, we're probably already likely seeing some significant impacts throughout areas like Grand Isle and onshore. Let's just take a look at what's going on right now. You can see we have those very strong winds that are moving ashore. And let's see the kind of winds that are actually occurring right now in southeastern Louisiana. So let's turn this on really quick. And wow. So yeah, areas like Buraz, let's see here. Wow. So Look at this. Empire and Bureau's, Louisiana are getting in on winds of nearly or just at 100 miles an hour right now. Port Sulphur, you're seeing winds greater than 70 miles an hour. Point Alahachie, you're looking at winds at about severe force right now, 58 miles per hour. Hopedale, you're looking at winds of about 60 miles an hour. And just off the coast, it looks like a Port Sulphur area, we're seeing widespread winds at or exceeding 100 miles an hour. Right now, Bureau's looks like the area that is getting hit the hardest by winds right now on land. And offshore, again, we have those winds over 150 miles an hour, making this a strong Category 4 hurricane. Also, all these solid purples here, this is called range folded, and it means that the radar can't determine whether or not the velocity is moving toward or away from the radar, because velocity mode is a measurement of how fast, in which direction the precipitation is moving from the radar's point of view here. So the radar is located right in this dot here, kind of like an eye wall there, north of Slidell, Louisiana. That is where the radar currently is. I'll turn this thing off really quick. That circle is where the radar currently is. If the precipitation is moving towards the radar, it will be registered in these reds, these pinks, and these brown shades here. If it's moving away from the radar, though, it'll be registered in greens, reds, and greens, light blues, and purples is the colors that we'll see if it's moving away from the radar here. Which, again, this has actually just been modified today, it looks like, to see some more significant winds that were allowed to be previously registered on radar. I don't know if that's necessarily new, but it's definitely something pretty interesting. But yeah, so, and it also shows you how fast the precipitation is moving. So in this case, severe winds are 58 miles per hour. So if we're seeing colors of over this magnitude right here, this green shade, and if we're seeing winds of over this magnitude, we're looking at severe winds. So widespread significant severe winds are occurring throughout much of southeastern Louisiana right now, but especially off the coast where many wind values will be over 150 miles an hour. Now, from Slidell, Louisiana, to the strongest winds here, it's about 100 miles south. So that means from that, and about 9,200 miles south, that means that the radar may not necessarily see, give or take a couple miles per hour. You will also notice that defined purple ring around the radar here, right here. Just outside of that, it's probably not getting the best scan possible here, but at least it gives us a similar idea that the winds will be as strong as they actually are, but it may not be perfect, I guess is what I'm saying. However, the winds could still be near or just exceeding 150 miles an hour according to the radar, but it is still some distance away from the radar, I guess is what I'm saying here. So we're just going to put this back to reflectivity mode. First, actually, though, let's turn on the simulated radar and see how these winds have evolved throughout the last few minutes or so. So we're turning on the simulated radar. And it looks like this is going to be every 3 or 4 minutes. And wow, the winds have gotten stronger, it looks like. So it looks like they started pretty strong. They're actually all very strong. They started very strong, weakened probably a few miles per hour, and are now strengthening again into that more solid blue color there. You can see the most significant winds are occurring within this region here. And it looks like they are moving west-northwest right now. You can see that area of solid blue. That is the most significant area of winds right now that we are seeing, and this appears to be moving west-northwest right now. We also see winds of over 100 miles an hour there in these brown regions. These look to be moving more west than northwest as well. This is all revolving around because obviously the storm is rotating. But right now, yeah, areas like Grand Isle, west of Grand Isle, you're under the gun for some significant damaging winds right now. If we are not already seeing them occurring, let's see what's happened with reflectivity as well as far as the simulated radar goes. And we'll take it up to that really quick. Wow, it is rotating very fast. So this is, again, every 3 or 4 minutes. This is what is happening right now. Just look at that. That is a fast rotating storm. With the winds wrapping around as fast as they are, it makes sense. But still, wow, very, very organized storm structure right now. So speaking of organized storm structure, we're going to put this off the simulated radar. And what we are going to do right now is we are going to go over and take a look. Hold on one second. Okay, so we're going to go over here and take a look at our Tropical Tidbits website here, and we are going to see what this storm currently looks like. Let's take us over to Hurricane Ida. So take a look at this, guys. This is crazy how organized the storm is right now, and just how defined that eye wall is. Look at that. This is a simulated satellite imagery of how tall the cloud cover is. You typically see this in all of my hurricane-related videos, where I'll show you guys how tall the cloud coverage actually is. And the more organized, or the more taller that the clouds are, we're typically looking at a more organized storm structure. This is very helpful in determining how organized those hurricanes are. And so we're looking at these blacks and whites like we're seeing on the screen here. We know that we are looking at some especially tall clouds. And look at that eye wall, guys. It went from kind of being a so-so eye wall to just strengthening a lot here. You can see that it's becoming very defined, almost a perfect circle. Sorry, almost a perfect circle there. And this is moving near onshore of Gulf Shores, Louisiana here. Grand Isle, Louisiana, I believe. And we are looking at some significant impacts right now that are very likely with this. Now, that eye wall is moving pretty quickly here to the northwest. You can see typically most of the most significant impacts occur just outside of that eye wall here on the ring on the outside of the eye wall. Thank you, Eli, the weather guy. But we have some very significant eye wall right now, very organized storm structure. So you can see here it's kind of hard to catch up to speed, but this is the Zulo time this is being measured in. But yeah, very significant structure right now. So let's take this back and take a look at our simulated radar and just see what else is going on. Have we had any updates to our special marine warnings? Let's take this over to the easternmost special marine warning on the screen, further into the Florida Peninsula, and we'll see what's going on. So let's take a look at the special marine warning. If it's not about water spouts or anything crazy, we're just going to go off of it. So yes, there's water spouts and wind gusts of nearly 50 knots. So the National Weather Service in Tallahassee has issued a special marine warning for coastal waters from Mexico Beach to Apalachicola to out 20 nautical miles. Coastal waters from Okaloosa to Walton County line to Mexico Beach out 20 nautical miles, and until 11:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. At 10:26 a.m. Central Daylight Time, severe thunderstorms capable of producing waterspouts were located along a line expanding from 8 nautical miles northeast of Okaloosa Deepwater Reef to 30 nautical miles southwest of Mexico Beach to 13 nautical miles southwest of Empire Amica Wreck, moving north at 35 knots. Our hazards here are going to be waterspouts and wind gusts to nearly 50 knots. Both of these are going to be possible with this severe thunderstorm. This is a radar-indicated threat. Waterspouts can quickly form and capsize boats, dams, and create suddenly higher waves. Make sure that all on board are in a secure location and wearing life jackets. Expect wind gusts in excess of 34 knots, suddenly higher waves, frequent lightning, and heavy downpours. Make sure that all on board are wearing life jackets. The locations impacted are going to be Laguna Beach, Panama City Beach, and Santa Rosa Beach. You are under a special marine warning right now. Wind gusts to nearly severe level and waterspouts are both going to be possible or imminent as we speak here. Move to safe harbor immediately as gusty winds and high waves are expected. You can see right off the bat here, it looks like where we could have our potential rotation, but let's just take this back really quickly. I just want to look at one thing. We're not going to read this whole thing again, obviously, but located along the line extending from 8 mile Okaloosa deep. I think our rotation would be about right here. But this is all negative. This is all moving away from the radar. So our rotation, if we have any, is very weak. But my guess would be our rotation, if we had any, would be about right here. And again, this is off the coast of the Big Bended Florida region. The Florida Peninsula, sorry. Florida Panhandle. Let's go to reflectivity mode really quick. And you can see, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we had some very weak rotation there. I don't expect anything that significant. But yeah, I mean, you can see that we have a bit of a, not a hook, but maybe a little bit of inflow with this severe storm here. But the rotation is just so weak, I don't want to focus on this too much here. And it is pretty far off the shore. But yeah, still, maybe some potential that we could be looking at some waterspout activity. But this expires in 30 minutes, so maybe the rotation's down here. I really can't tell, guys, but either way, if the rotation, if there is any, it is very weak. However, the radar is registering something else, and that is how strong the winds are, so we will take a look at that really quick. Make sure that we're at the right... Okay, so right there, you can see that the winds out of the special marine warning right now are about 50 to 55 miles per hour, and this is moving north into the area that is special marine warned right now. So still some pretty strong winds possible. Water spouts can form pretty easily, I believe, but I don't think that we're going to see anything that crazy. Maybe the water spout rotation is right here, but it's just pretty weak. I don't think much is going to happen, but don't be surprised that there is the potential for maybe seeing a water spout formation. But again, nothing too crazy. So let's go over to the New Orleans radar again and see what's going on. And yeah, you can see again, there's the eye wall right there. It's very clearly defined. This is not a glitch in the radar. This is how defined the eye wall is. I know I've been like talking a lot about the eye wall, like I'm obsessed with it, but like it's pretty crazy to see structures like this when they're this defined. You know, the storm is very organized, and it's not a good sign at all. So the winds are about 150 miles an hour right now, and this thing is rapidly rotating very, very quickly here. Yeah, so the wind's about 150 miles an hour plus right now. Also, the winds are more significant on the east side of the storm than on the west side. This is moving, I believe, anticyclonically here, as most hurricanes do. Let's actually just see if it's moving anticyclonic. Flip this over to reflectivity mode. Yeah, so this is rotating anticyclonically. I believe that's how really all hurricanes go typically. But it's doing so very quickly, and this is a very significant structure right now. Still kind of situated the same spot that it was in comparison to near Grand Isle, but I mean, again, this is every 3 or 4 minutes, and it is just creeping closer and closer and closer to southeastern Louisiana here. The eye wall is. We're already seeing some significant impacts, most likely there throughout portions of southeastern Louisiana, but they're only going to get worse as this thing moves on shore. So let's see. Okay, I just did get a notification here about breaking news from Hurricane Ida's surge floods Louisiana, Mississippi. I'm going to read this really quick to you guys so that you can see what is going on. But it says that water levels were rising along the Louisiana coast as Hurricane Ida's life-threatening surge arrived. This is from Weather Channel. Power was knocked out to tens of thousands of Louisiana from Ida's outer bands. Officials warned the area surge could overtop some levees in the New Orleans area, but the levees should hold. Yeah, that's not a good sign. So New Orleans residents, it says the levee should hold right now. New Orleans residents is told that they can expect emergency help until 72 hours after the storm has passed. Officials worry about the strain on already overburdened hospitals. Hurricane Ida is here, and its feet of storm surge flooding and extreme winds that are crushing the Gulf Coast, particularly in southeastern Louisiana. A rare extreme wind warning. Yeah, I knew that this had to have been a rare situation, but it says right here, a rare extreme wind warning was issued for those on the first up of the path of the storm's 150 mile per hour winds. In the warning, the National Weather Service warned this is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Town in that path, which we are mainly looking at right now, cameras showing the Earth had been transformed by storm surge into the turbulent ocean. The only road in and out was enveloped. The storm's winds, which have gusted over 100 miles per hour at an elevated weather station, pushing the water against still houses and form raging whitecaps. So it looks like we were winds of around 100 miles per hour, over 100 miles per hour. According to one weather station over there. Mandatory evacuations were issued in Grand Isle, but as many as 40 people still stayed behind. Guys, left to weather the worst of Ida has to offer. Up to 16 feet of storm surge and sustained wind of 150 miles per hour. Those winds are expected to produce catastrophic damage. Just the outer bands of Ida has already knocked out power to tens of thousands of Louisianans Sunday morning. Those power outages are expected to last for days, if not weeks. It's all part of the ongoing catastrophe that may leave some areas uninhabitable for weeks, as it says here. The latest on the storm's path, more than 60,000 customers in Louisiana were already without power as Ida's outer bands started lashing the coast. So guys, that means that the outer bands have already caused 60,000 power outages in Louisiana already. The eye wall hasn't even made landfall here yet. Jefferson Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang estimated that about 40 people were left on Grand Island. Mandatory evacuations were issued for the town, which is outside the hurricane protection system, and it's expected to take the brunt of the storm, as we are seeing right now. We're about to see. Storm surge of 3 feet has already been observed there. So guys, the storm surge is expected to be about 12 to 16 feet. We've already seen 3-foot storm surge in Grand Isle, Louisiana right now, so this is really, really bad. Over 5 feet of storm surge was reported in Shell Beach, Louisiana, and Waveland, Mississippi. Gusts of over 120 miles per hour were reported at an elevated weather station. Levees could overtop. Ida threatened to overtop some levees in the New Orleans area designed just to do that. Feet of storm surge was already reported on Shell Beach, Louisiana, early Sunday morning, and the National Hurricane Center bumped its projected storm surge totals of 12 to 16 feet along parts of the southeast Louisiana coast. If you guys watched yesterday's video, it went from 10 to 15 foot storm surge, and now it went to 12 to 16 feet, so it has been updated a little bit here. I believe that they increased that storm surge forecast yesterday afternoon here, or yesterday evening. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or the USACE, told NOLA.com that some levees recorded along the west bank of the Mississippi River in Jefferson Parish could be overtopped by storm surge, but emphasized that the levees should hold up, and that was most important. Its different system was that in the different system that we had in Katrina. By it being designed by overtopping, it won't have erosion and scoring that leads breaching. USACE spokesperson Ricky Boyette told NOLA.com. Once the water resides, you'll have it uncontrolled into an area and water coming out the top over the period of time. Given the location of the levees further inland, it remains to be seen whether or not storm surge levels will hit the heights capable of overtopping them. The USACE commented on the situation Saturday before surge levels projections were increased to up to 16 feet. Infrastructure in Laforte and Terrebonne parishes will be worst off. In an interview with 4WWL, USACE Representative Health Jones said that the flood infrastructure there was designed for this level. There may be some issues down there in Terrebonne and Laforge Parish. Follow the local leaders' advice, Jones said. Mandatory evacuations were rushed to the completion of several other areas, including St. Charles, Terrebonne, Assumption, and Plaquemines mines in Laforge parishes in Louisiana and Hancock County in Mississippi. Shelters were open in several areas with COVID-19 protocols in place, including masks, temperature checks, and social distancing. People in low-lying areas of Gulfport, Mississippi were advised to leave Saturday. Mayor Billy Hughes told the Weather Channel Saturday that mandatory evacuations could be issued depending on how the storm tracks. Here's a look at some of the other preparations taking place ahead of Ida. Louisiana. There was a final rush to evacuate on Saturday that clogged major... Let me see how long this is. Okay, we're not too much longer, so we're going to keep reading. There was a final rush to evacuate on Saturday that clogged major thoroughfares, and Ida's destructive future came into focus. All residents in New Orleans were advised on Saturday to leave the city and told the first responders will not be able to reach them during Hurricane Ida. Mayor Latoya Centrale said that there wasn't enough time to coordinate a mandatory citywide evacuation. Hospitals were filled with capacity due to COVID-19, so officials told people to emergency rooms unless they have a life-threatening situation, and warned them to take precautions after the storm to avoid preventable death and injury that would stress hospitals further. Evacuating hospitals is not going to be possible because there is nowhere to bring those patients to and no access to capacity anywhere else in the state and outside of the state, said Louisiana Governor John Bell. And so we're really worried about prolonged power outages. Hold on one second. We're really worried about prolonged power outages here, is what the Louisiana governor said. Travelers at Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport were told not to come to the airport unless they knew for sure their travel is confirmed. The airport was crowded with travelers heading out on Saturday. All flights have been canceled into and out of the airport on Sunday. A curfew is in effect starting in Laforge Parish. Schools will be closed Monday in New Orleans and several other parishes, including Jefferson, Terrebonne, and Laforge. A state of emergency was the federal emergency declaration Friday afternoon. The Louisiana Department of Transportation announced that the tolls are suspended on the Louisiana 1 Expressway in Leeville and Laforge Parish. Workers were ferried from oil and gas platforms into the Gulf of Mexico Friday morning. Reuters reported Royal Dutch Shell and BP were evacuating 8 platforms each. Several other companies were following suit. The New Orleans Saints canceled their preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals and at the Caesars Superdome. It was scheduled to be played Saturday. Sandbags handed out in some areas. Workers were clearing storm drains, preparing infrastructure. New Orleans Sewage and Water Board said 96 of the city's 99 drainage pumps are available for service in case of flooding in the city. Drive-through COVID-19 testing and vaccine sites in New Orleans closed at noon Friday in order to pack up tents and equipment ahead of the storm. Several other cities and parishes also shut down their sites. The Louisiana Office of State Fire Marshal reminded everyone to follow safety rules when using generators. This includes not placing generators inside or adjacent to buildings or enclosed structures. Several people died while using generators last year over the string of storms that hit the state. That was what is currently being prepared for in Louisiana, what's being talked about in Louisiana. Now, the more short one here is only like a couple sentences left of this here, is in Mississippi. Officials in Gulfport plan to announce a curfew, and some casinos along the Mississippi coast have been decided to close ahead of the storm. That is all from the Weather Channel. If you guys want to get this information, I did not write any of this. All of this is from the Weather Channel. This is an article that has just been posted here, and that is what is currently highlighted by the Weather Channel. So let's just get back here. We're going to get back set up and see what is going on, and just keep chugging along here. Okay, so we're going to get back set up. It should just be super quick. Okay, so as you can see right now, this thing just continues chugging along here. It is nearly onshore of Grand Isle, Louisiana. You would have heard that there was a wind gust that it looks like have been observed at over 100 miles an hour, I believe near Grand Isle. And it looks like that we could have seen winds of that magnitude, maybe even over 120 miles per hour in some areas here. Again, near Buras, Louisiana right now, those winds at this time are about over 100 miles per hour, a few miles per hour over 100. Okay, it does look like our live stream is lagging behind a little bit here. So we're probably going to have to do something about that really quick. Hold on. That is what is currently highlighted by the Weather Channel. So let's just get back here. We're going to get back set up and see what is going on. Chugging along here. Okay, so we're going to get back set up. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but it looks like everything's working out just fine. It was just the internet must be behind a little bit here, but it looks like everything's fine. I'm just going to wait a second and make sure that that is the case. This will only literally take 1 second. I just don't want to run into a situation where my audio is ahead of my video. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but it looks like everything's working out. Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be working fine. So, we're going to get back into it. And you can see right now, that still these winds are very strong near Grand Isle, Louisiana right now. Let's turn the simulated radar off and let's go over to reflectivity mode. And yeah, you can see this is a very organized storm. You can see that ring around the eye wall right here, which is situated right here. Right around this here, we are looking at an area of widespread heavy rainfall, and this is being wrapped around by winds greater than 150 miles an hour. So very, very strong winds are being registered at the moment in those areas. This is just south of Grand Isle, Louisiana. The eye wall starts to hit Grand Isle by the time that we get about 5 miles south of Grand Isle right now is where the eye wall is currently situated, or at least the outskirts of the eye wall here. Widespread heavy rainfall is occurring in southeastern Louisiana as we speak. And we'll go back over to velocity mode really quick and see what is happening. You can see right now, actually, with the latest radar scan, it looks like there's the potential that this is weakening a little bit. You can see that, again, earlier, the winds were about 150 to 160 miles an hour. Right now, with the latest radar scan, the greatest winds are being registered at 139 miles per hour. So this could just be a scan, here and there that it might be a little bit weaker. But either way, it looks like the winds are still definitely still Category 4 hurricane status here, but maybe weakening a little bit. This could be because a lot of the storm is starting to enter near the onshore area. I'd say it's about 50-50 what's onshore and offshore right now. Maybe not quite, because at least precipitation that's starting to nearly be the case. But you can see, yeah, still. So south into the waters here is where we're seeing most of the cyclone at this point. We are seeing a couple of those rings around the hurricane that is expanding into southeastern Louisiana at this point here. But for the most part, this is still offshore. But it is very close to making landfall. This is all moving north-northwest here, and it is rotating very rapidly. Again, here's the quick version of the simulated radar so that you guys can see just how fast this thing is wrapping around right now. It's moving very quickly. And, okay, it looks like that, as you can see, right there, that line right there into the northwest is our land up through this way here. And as you can see, we went from having no rainfall to the center part of the heavy rainfall that is starting to work its way into on land south of Grand Isle, Louisiana here. So it looks like that there is a chance that this is starting to make landfall, but I believe that the eye itself will have to actually reach land in order for it to officially be considered landfall. But yeah, look at that. The rainfall on the outskirts of the eye wall is starting to hit that landline right there. So let's put a line right there and take a look at what's going on with the winds south of Grand Isle, Louisiana here, which, again, if you are in Grand Isle, there were evacuation orders that were in place. The winds are likely a lot stronger than this, by the way, too, because you can see that huge area here in this kind of grayish spot where the winds are a lot lighter. This is because it's split right down between the winds that are moving toward the radar and away from the radar. You can see it's the same on the other side as well, because that's where the radar currently is, between always is, between Pearl River and Slidell right now. So the winds are likely a lot stronger than that, where this is starting to move on shore over Grand Isle and near Grand Isle. But yeah, this thing is moving into land masses here, it looks like, the outside of the eye wall. So that is concerning for sure, and this is expected to happen. But yeah, some pretty significant impacts right now, most likely. Again, there's still an extreme wind warning in effect, which, if you weren't here at the beginning of the video, this is a very rare warning that gets issued. It's only issued for, I believe it's only issued for major landfalling hurricanes like we have with this one here. And I'd have to go back and look. I don't even know if we had this for Hurricane Laura that hit Lake Charles. We might have had one. I could be very wrong about that. But I don't even know if we saw that get issued. So I'd have to go back and look. But either way, extreme wind warning is very rare. And that's for the onslaught of the areas that are expected to get hit with winds of over 150 miles an hour, which is what Hurricane Ida is currently packing right now. But at this point, the last couple of radar scans, it looks like they've been showing winds a little bit less than that, or at least one out of the two. And right now, the winds look to be about 135 miles per hour, 135 to 140 miles per hour. That would still put us only 22 to 17 miles per hour below Category 5 hurricane status right now. So still very, very close to Cat 5 hurricane status. Descendant is here. Howdy. Hi. I hope that you're enjoying the stream. Hope that everything's going well, that you're having a good day. But yeah, we have winds right now that are over 130 miles an hour there in portions of this blue region, especially these darker blues where we're looking at these stronger winds. These solid light blues here, that's where we're looking at winds of about 125 to 130 miles an hour. In all these blues, we're looking at winds that are about over 85 miles per hour. So yeah, very strong winds right now are occurring with this storm. And yeah, it looks it's definitely pretty organized right now. What we're going to do is we're going to take this back to reflectivity mode and see what is going on with the outer bands of the storm. You can see that we do have some storms, some more single cell storms that are marching northwestward near Gulfport, Alabama here. Gulfport, Mississippi. And these are all moving northwest, wrapping around Hurricane Ida right now. I believe that these are the storms that they were concerned about possibly being tornadic. So let's take a look at Mobile, Alabama's radar, and you can see that we do have some pretty strong cells there that are moving into some of these special marine warned areas here. And these storms are pretty strong, and it looks like these are the storms that they're concerned about possibly producing tornadoes. So there are those storms as well that are situated to the north of our landfalling major hurricane here. And we probably are going to end the stream here in just a second. We've already been live for a little over an hour. And I can't go too much longer than this, but we do have land interaction there with the eye wall of the hurricane. So you can see Grand Isle, Louisiana. This is still about 2.5 to 3 miles south of Grand Isle, Louisiana, is where we're seeing the outskirts of the eye wall. But as you can see, along the shore south of Grand Isle, Louisiana, the outside of the eye wall is already starting to hit that area. So yeah, we're having some very strong winds right now. Those areas could be seeing winds, it looks like, over 80 miles an hour, possibly over 80 miles an hour, south of Grand Isle, Louisiana. And that could mean that we are going to see landfall very quickly here. Again, I think that landfall is likely going to happen in southeastern Louisiana by the time that we get to 2 p.m. here. We just got this notification here. By the way, if you haven't seen Piggy Pork Chop channels here, or Piggy Pork Chop's channel, I highly recommend that you check it out. It's all about emergency alert system equipment here. And in this case, he has issued a statement here on a EIS shelter-in-place warning for Hurricane Ida for Assumption Parish here. This is a Louisiana curfew announcement. So if you haven't seen Piggy Pork Chop channels or Piggy Pork Chop's channel on YouTube, be sure to check it out. It's all about emergency alert system stuff. A lot of stuff on weather warnings. And I really like that channel. You should definitely go check it out. I'm subscribed. You should definitely subscribe too. The Senate is here. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for the info. You are very reliable. Thank you so much. That's a really big compliment. I'm glad that you're enjoying the live stream. But yeah, we have a very strong system right now. We just got another update from the Weather Channel. Okay, so watch live. Ida is making landfall soon as a major hurricane. Tune in as it happens. Okay, so the Weather Channel's going live right now too. But yeah, this is expected to be a major hurricane at landfall. So right now, by the way, the eye wall is situated. Let's turn reflectivity back on so we can see a little bit better. The eye wall at the moment is situated about 60 miles south of downtown New Orleans. So about 60 miles south of downtown New Orleans is where that eye wall is currently situated. And that is situated just south of Grand Isle, Louisiana, which again, the 40 people that were not able to evacuate in Grand Isle, Louisiana right now, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to keep yourself safe. Again, that shelter-in-place warning, I don't know if I can pull that up on the National Weather Service or not, but let's do it very quickly and see if I can. We'll see if we have any shelter-in-place warnings that have been issued. That probably show up under civil danger warning, but I don't think we have any of that right now, at least displayed on the National Weather Service. So I don't know. I don't know where we could find that. So for that reason, I can't really take a look at it right now, and I can't show Piggy Pork Chop's channel over this video, obviously, because I think I would get copyright strike for that. But yeah, there is a shelter-in-place warning in effect for where this is nearing landfall. But yeah, we do have an extreme wind warning in effect as well for Huma, Louisiana. Just south of New Orleans, Louisiana, that orange region here, we currently have an extreme wind warning. Let's see again how long this is in effect. Okay, they just updated it actually here. So if you don't mind, we're just going to take a quick look at what has been updated with this, because I believe this has been updated. National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a rare extreme wind warning for west central St. Bernard Parish, southern St. Charles Parish, Terrebonne Parish, La Forge Parish, Jefferson Parish, and Pelka Mines Parish here until 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or 2:30 p.m. for me when I'm making this video. At 10:28 a.m. Central Daylight Time, NOAA Hurricane and Renaissance aircraft and maritime observations indicated extreme winds associated with the eye wall of Hurricane Ida will move onshore portions of southeastern Louisiana. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Descendant is here. How does this compare with Katrina? I gotta be totally honest. I would say it's probably fairly close. I wasn't born when Katrina actually made landfall, so I don't remember obviously too much about it, but I do know that it was a very strong hurricane. And I actually believe that today was the anniversary of when Hurricane Katrina made landfall. I think today is actually the anniversary. And the fact that it's expected to make landfall in an area very similar to New Orleans, and they're talking about the potential for those impacts as far as flooding goes along along New Orleans, I would say it compares honestly fairly closely to Hurricane Katrina, especially considering the fact that we saw some winds observed nearby that were nearly Category 5 hurricane force. We're still seeing winds that are very close to that. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it compares to a decent amount to Katrina, actually. I'm not saying it'll be as bad as Katrina, but still could be a very dangerous storm. And certainly approaching near Category 5 hurricane status. So yeah, very dangerous storm. I would say it probably comes somewhat close to that at least. But yeah, thanks for that question. That was definitely something that I wanted to talk about at some point throughout the video. I'd say it gets somewhere close to that. It'll definitely be a very dangerous situation. And in the extreme wind warning here, areas like Huma, Theobodox, Cutoff, Galeno, La Rose, Marino, Harvey, Timberlane, Belk Chase, Port Sulphur, Avondale, Gretna, Westwago, Lockport, Golden Meadow, Jean, Lafitte, Matthews, Shriver, Chauvin, and Empire here. All of you guys are in this extreme wind warning right now. Widespread destructive winds of 115 to 150 miles an hour will spread across the St. Bernard Parish. All the areas that are listed in this right now, you're under that extreme wind warning. That's where the 115 to 150 mile an hour winds are expected to spread across that area, producing swaths of tornado-like damage here. Swaths of tornado-like damage is expected in these areas. So very, very destructive winds. Another thing too, a lot of people, and I mean rightfully so, think that a tornado can be more destructive than situations like this. But the reality is, an EF0 tornado has wind speeds of 65 to 85 miles per hour, and they can be extremely destructive because they can range anywhere from 65 miles per hour to over 200 miles per hour. But now when you match this up to a hurricane like this, we're seeing winds of around 150 miles an hour. This is probably about a very wide EF3 to EF4 tornado, basically, is the kind of winds that we are seeing right now. So very, very, very strong winds are likely occurring with this storm right now. And I mean, this is going to produce swaths of very intense tornado-like damage, most likely here. The impacts could be very, very significant for these areas that are under the extreme wind warning and beyond. I mean, areas like New Orleans can still see some very significant impacts, so very dangerous. Take cover now if you are in those areas. Treat these imminent extreme winds as if a tornado was approaching and move immediately to a safe room in your shelter. Take action now to protect your life. The safest place to be during a major landfalling hurricane is in a reinforced interior room away from windows. Get under a table or other piece of sturdy furniture. Use mattresses, blankets, or pillows to cover your body and head. Remain in place through the passage of those life-threatening conditions. And remember, a tornado watch remains in effect until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time for southeastern Louisiana. So we have an extreme wind warning again in effect for west central St. Bernard Parish, southern St. Charles, Terrebonne, La Forge, Jefferson, and Pelcomines parishes here. You are under an extreme wind warning until 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or again for 2:30 p.m. when I am making this video here, which I can't go that long into the live stream. Matter of fact, we're probably going to end the live stream pretty quickly here. And also another thing that I want to bring up, let's go to Pivotal Weather to see that. As you can see, here's our National Weather Service current hazards page, which we will take a look at right now. Now, for some reason, it does not show us the extreme wind warning. It doesn't show us the storm surge warning, anything like that. However, it does show us the hurricane, tropical storm warnings, and hydraulic-related warnings and watches here. So as you can see in this red shade, this light red shade, we currently have some hurricane warnings that are in effect along southeastern and south central Louisiana, including many coastal regions in southern Louisiana here. These dark reds here that kind of look like the same color combination as flash flood warnings. This is where we have some tropical storm warnings that are currently in effect here. These greens, we're looking at flood and flash flood watches, which expand all the way from the northern Gulf states into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys here. And you can see here off the screen, this yellow here, we currently have more tornado watch in effect here, which this tornado watch actually expands all the way throughout about where my arrow is circling around. That's kind of where we have that tornado watch region in effect. But because tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings kind of overlap that a little bit, you can't see it under those warnings there. But this tornado watch is in effect for pretty much this region right here. And I believe that these browns here are wind advisories, I'm pretty sure. And again, the extreme wind warning is not displayed. The storm surge warning is not displayed, nothing like that. However, this does give us a good idea of what the hurricane and flood watches and warnings currently are right now. And of course, that tornado watch and I believe wind advisory as well. So yeah, this is pretty significant right now. Take us back real quick here to radar scope. And yeah, so as you can see right now, at this point, Grand Isle, Louisiana is seeing the light rain portion of the eye wall, but there's more heavy rain that's expected to wrap around it. Again, it is moving to the northwest, but it's wrapping around at this direction here. So it's wrapping around, I believe it's actually wrapping around anticyclonic here. So you can see it's moving to the northwest, and it's wrapping around anti-clockwise here. I think I said anticyclonic one time, but I think it's anti-clockwise. So you can see that heavy rainfall is wrapping around near areas like Grand Isle, but right now, where the eye wall is making landfall south of Grand Isle, it's pretty much right now, at least for a very short time period, in an area of light to moderate rain. That will quickly change, and the winds are still likely very significant in that area. And of course, not even factoring in the storm surge, which is going to be a significant hazard. So if you are in those areas, be sure to take it seriously for sure. But that is probably where we are going to stop the live stream. We've been live streaming for probably a little over an hour and a half now, but this one is very close to landfall, and is the outside of the eye wall, the center part of the eye wall as well, is already starting to impact areas like Grand Isle, Louisiana, especially just to the south. We see a widespread area of heavy rainfall that's even starting to stretch up near New Orleans with that light to moderate rainfall right now, along with multiple storms to the north from about Mobile, Alabama into Laurel, Mississippi, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That activity is moving northwestward and could potentially pose a tornado threat as well. We have an extreme wind warning that is in effect generally throughout this area, I believe here is where we have that extreme wind warning. This is, again, for the exact areas, you definitely want to look at the National Weather Service. But that's about the area where we have those extreme wind warnings in effect, and that is in effect until 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or again, 2:30 p.m. by the time that we're making this video. A new flash flood watch in effect to the north of this one here in Pensacola. Overall, some very significant impacts here are associated with Hurricane Ida. And we might do a recap in tomorrow's video or whenever we make our next video of what this looked like. But at this point, this probably is going to be our last update on Hurricane Ida. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Make sure that if you are in southeastern Louisiana that you're staying safe. Please do whatever that you can to protect your life and property. This is a very life-threatening situation, and it compares to some very strong hurricanes that we've had in the past in those areas. It impacts areas like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, some pretty heavily populated areas. So do whatever you can to protect yourself, to protect your property, to protect your family. Do everything that you can to keep yourself safe. Have multiple ways to receive warnings, listen to the weather news, and hunker down in your basement or wherever your safe place is, depending on the situation. They should give you instructions from the National Weather Service. It may not necessarily be your basement either, given the storm surge and heavy rainfall threat. So be sure to stay tuned to the National Weather Service for places to go and updates like that. But that is going to close out our live stream, and we'll talk to you guys back here in the next video or live stream. Bye, guys.